Hi, I'm Melanie.
And I am Saeed.
And we are
Two writers
talking shit.
We are back
with another episode. Our guest today is someone who I have known for quite some time. Now, Saeed might not even know this about me, but I used to have a theater company in New York City.
Wow.
That's the Big Apple.
Definitely the Big Apple. I thought you were talking about like New York, Nantucket or something, but yeah, okay, I got you.
You know, New York, Texas.
Okay.
Had a theater company. Now, our guest today was in fact in that theater company. Our guest today loves the theater. Does TV and film want him? Does TV and film beg for him, pay him the big dollars? Yes, he just keeps scraping his way back to the theater for reasons that we'll get into today. Absolutely.
Nice.
He's absolutely wonderful. He's my dear friend. It's Bernardo Cubria.
Yeah, very nice. That great pronunciation, by the way. Well done, Mary. Well done. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
We are just absolutely thrilled to have you here. We're really going to go on a whoosh, deep dive with you, Bernardo. Now, Bernardo, I feel like we've both moved to Los Angeles from New York, and I was sort of thinking about something recently, and I sort of feel like, I don't know if you feel this way, Bernardo. I feel like my friends from New York, the people who I knew then, they know like the real me, like the truest me. Like, and I love my friends from LA.
What do I know?
The LA version.
Oh,
exactly.
Is this 2.0 or 0.5?
I mean, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I feel like I was like, you know, our friends from Inviolate, like, you know, all of the OG friends. I said, oh, they know the real me now, and I love my LA friends.
Okay,
Saeed.
Okay,
I love them so much, but it is different. Do you feel the same way?
Yes, but I was saying this to my wife recently. I think my theater school friends know the most authentic version of me, right? When I was 18 to 22. And then when I got to New York, to be honest, what happened, and then in LA in a different way. But when I got to New York, that's when I started trying to be something for everyone else. You know what I mean? Because in theater school, I was just me, right? Yeah. And there was like very low stakes because it's theater school in Houston, Texas. And then when I got to New York, I was like, I need these people to like me so that I can like work. And because that's my big disease is that I need people to like me. And so I was just like starting to adjust things about myself. And then in LA, I think I got older and matured. But so I totally identify with what you're talking about.
Now, Bernardo's just come back from Sundance. Pretty sexy. You are in the Screenwriting Lab this year. Your script won the Sundance Institute Comedy Fellowship.
Yes.
That's fire. Congrats.
Now, can you tell us about the script?
Yeah, of course. I wrote it with two friends of mine, John Hybe and Josh Soskin. They actually started writing the script like 6 years ago. And then about 2 years ago, they had been sending it to me because it was set on the border and they were asking for like, you know, a cultural eye, which is
smart though. I respect that. I respect that.
It is very smart.
So your co-writers are?
Not Mexican gentlemen. One is a Lebanese American and one is a white guy. But great guys. And they reached out to me. We had a long meeting about how I would approach the script. They were awesome and were like, let's fucking do it. And the three of us like kind of did our pass on the script. And that was 2 years ago.
Wow.
That's fire.
Yeah. It's called Kill Your Idols. It's set in South Texas. And it's basically like Mexican Superbad about these two Mexican-American kids trying to put on their first punk rock show.
I love
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And how does one get the Sundance Institute Comedy Fellowship?
We didn't even know that existed or was a possibility. So that was just like a bonus email.
It was just a bonus.
We didn't apply for that. We just wanted to get into the lab, you know, applied and then did the interviews and stuff. But
That's tight.
Now, and what was the application process like for you?
It's you just fill out this application that they have online, honestly, you know, and then you're surprised like 2 months later because you forget that you even did it and you're like, well, that's probably not going to happen.
You weren't like friends with anyone there?
No, so I will say this is why we got in. That's a very good question and very helpful for people who are like starting out.
Yeah.
No, the reason we got in was our producer, Michael Gottwald, who he has come onto the project before. He did Beasts of the Southern Wild, so he has an in already.
Right.
Yeah,
So he has a relationship at Sundance.
So his name was on there.
Okay.
Our director who's attached is Carlos Lopez Estrada, who has been there too.
Yeah.
And I will say when you're there, they say like once you're in, like we take care of our people.
Yeah.
So if John and I and Josh had just sent the script, I do not think that we would have been there, you know? Yeah. Like, I don't think any of that other stuff happens. Does that make sense?
We have a lot of faith in you and Bernardo, and we have a
Thank
lot
you,
of faith in you and your
Melanie.
script. But I
Thank
do
you.
think it is important for people to know because
100%.
it's not a transparent thing, right? But it's like when you're applying for Sundance for all of their fellowships and stuff, you could just apply. You could just be a normal person from the internet. But what a lot of people are doing, it's like they have relationships at Sundance. It's like they're applying, and then it's like then you email your person, you say, hey, I just applied. Or it's like your manager has a relationship there, or like your agent has a relationship there, or your producer has a relationship there. And also it's a lot of things like, oh, I get to apply late because of this this connection that I have. And I do think that that's an important thing to know because it can be really disappointing to like apply for these things and like not get any traction.
I agree.
Yeah, I will say when I was younger, that stuff used to bother me. Mm-hmm. But the older I get, I realize like I just want to work with my friends too. Like, this is how it works.
Yeah.
Like, this is
100%.
not. I spent too much energy getting mad that it's like who you know, instead of going out and meeting dope people that I wanted to work with that then would lead to opportunities, right?
And I think another important thing to know is like those relationships are earned, right? It's like you don't just like come like fresh off the boat and you have those relationships. It's like you have those relationships from working. So it is not unfair in that way, I don't think.
I'll also say, I mean, I'm 40 and most of the people there were like in their early 20s, you know, like, so there was this feeling of like, wow, it took me a long time to get here, you know, but it was fine.
But I say it's like seasoned, like, you know what I'm saying? Like to me, I feel like, it's, I mean, like it's funny when I was at Austin Film Festival, all these older writers were running up to me because I was in Nickelodeon program at 40. Cool. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they're like, is it possible to be? You know, it's like, yeah, like just enter and like don't be. You're gonna be around 20-year-old kids, but you have to like have value in your experience. Which obviously you said the story takes place in Texas. Yeah. Right. So like now your experience comes in. You've lived multiple lives, and that shows through the work. Which is because yes, to get considered for Sundance, you have to have connections. But to win it, it's the script. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, you put years and years in tiny little black box theaters in New York and in LA, and I still do, Right. No, I really do think like that's what it is. Like you're like, what is this leading to? What am I doing? Mm-hmm. But it all helps, right? It all makes you a better storyteller, or at least you just wear people down and they're like, fine, okay, Bernardo, you can fucking show up in this place. Yeah.
That's how you gotta do it.
I mean, speaking of relationships, you do have a very fruitful relationship with Gina Rodriguez of Jane the Virgin fame. You guys have worked on a few projects together, I feel like. That you've either written with her or for her. So can you talk to us about how that came into fruition?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that changed my life from like doing black box theater in New York and LA, and that's what I was doing, Melanie can tell you, because I forced her to come to all of my small black box plays. But
and I come.
And she does come. Yeah. Very nice. Sometimes she gets pulled up on stage. She gets very mad at me afterward. She's like, why is this audience participation? But so what happened was about 4 years ago or 5, I did a reading of a very strange play of mine.
Okay. Wait, which one?
It's called Crabs in a Bucket, and it's about crabs that live in a bucket, and it's about the Latino community. Okay, it's like a metaphor. It's a clown play. That's what it's a comedy.
I love it.
Oh my God, and Bernardo loves clowning.
I do love clowning. We can get into that. But so I did. It was a weird play.
Like, you mean an actual clown?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I went to clown school.
Wait a minute, because I
understand. We should stop.
Let's make this specific because I know the audience is like, oh, you like clowning around like comedy, but you mean this play has an actual clown in it?
So not like it.
Okay.
But I went to clown school. This is when everybody turns off.
Tell us which clown school you went to.
This is when everybody leans in.
If anybody's ever seen the show Baskets, they make fun of going to clown school, right? I went to that school in Italy.
This is
where you like learn commedia dell'arte and like, that kind of stuff.
Wait, you didn't go to the famous one in Paris?
I didn't. I wish. Lecoq, I wish I'd gone there. By the way, this is not a joke. I have told my wife when I turn 60 and the kids are gone, like I'm going to Lecoq for a year. Like, hilarious. And she can like, we'll go live in Paris for a year. Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's also important to know it's like certain things like, Ali G and Borat, it's like those are clown characters.
Yeah, he
like,
studied that. Sacha Baron Cohen studied clowning. Yeah. Like Nathan Fielder clearly knows that work. Yeah, it's like it's that kind of
thing. Okay, I got it. That's
so you wrote this clown play about crabs in a bucket.
Yes, this is to me like the point of when people are like, how do I do it? It's like there's no logic. I mean, my story of how the doors to Hollywood opened makes no sense. I wrote a really strange, absurdist play.
Love it.
And I did a reading at a friend's apartment. And one of the people in my theater company is this actress, Carla Sousa, who's a Mexican actress. And after the reading, she was like, hey, you know, I have a meeting at Gina Rodriguez's office soon. Would you like to be my screenwriter? By the way, Carla didn't know I'd never written a screenplay in my life. And I didn't tell her. I was like, oh, sure. Carla didn't know I'd never pitched in my life before. I was like, yeah, I'll go pitch to Gina Rodriguez.
100%.
Anyway, I got in the car, called my friends who are successful screenwriters, and was like, what the fuck is a pitch? How do you write a screenwriter? Honestly, I didn't know. Like, and by the way, at that point in my life, I wasn't even thinking to go that way.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just be a theater guy who does commercials as an actor sometimes, and, you know, that'll be my life. Anyway, I read Save the Cat. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like I'm 35, you know, but I read Save the Cat, story, all this shit. And then, you know, cut to, I go into Gina Rodriguez's office with her producer, Molly Breeskin, and I pitched a movie.
Oh, my God.
And now knowing what a pitch is, it was a disaster. It was 8 minutes. It was just jokes. Like, it wasn't good, you know? Like, but there was something there that she was like, cool, let's start working on this project. And then a month later, I wrote first draft, and we went in and we did a reading of it at her office. And from that moment on, I mean, I can't tell you, both of those women, Carla and Gina, changed my life.
That's dope.
Because from that moment on, they opened doors for me, they pushed for me, they continue to push for me. They both changed my life, you know? But it makes no sense.
Now, we love hearing those stories.
Yeah.
We always talk about how it's like one thing that usually like, it's, you know, it's like that path and you take it and you don't know what the front looks like. It's like driving down a street with no lights. It's like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to go wherever I got to go.
Totally. And, you know, I do think you need people who have power, who open doors for you. Like, that's just 100% true. 100%. You need someone. And it's really cool to me. There was 2 people from my community who are women who were like, fuck yeah, let's open the door for this guy. Because without them, it doesn't happen.
100%.
Trust me, I've tried.
Well, actually, my first like door opening was from Inviolate. That's our theater. It's dead now. The theater company's dead.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
R.I.P. And if you're wondering, why is it called Inviolate, Melanie? Well, let me tell you, a lot of us at the theater company, we studied with a Meisner teacher, beautiful, Maggie Flanagan, amazing. You didn't study with her, right, Bernardo?
No. I just knew people in the company.
Yeah. And one of the things that Maggie would tell us when we started the program, she said, when you finish this program, you will have an inviolate sense of truth. So that if something happens, like on stage or on screen that is untruthful, like something inside you will sit up and it will not be able to sit down. And I didn't understand that on that first day.
I still don't understand it, really, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm lost. But
like, why that word?
I got you.
There are other words that could say that, but that's fine. We can continue.
Yeah, but anyways, so still don't understand it.
That word? No.
Okay, so for instance, like, okay, you're on stage, you're performing, right? Suddenly something happens unexpected. A red ball rolls across the stage. Now, the audience sees it and you see it, right? But if you, the performer, do not acknowledge that red ball rolling across the stage, your whole performance becomes untruthful. That's sort of what it means.
Yeah, totally.
So anyways, but we didn't even spell it right. Like, we spelled it like the color violet. I don't.
Who knows?
Anyways.
What a shocker that it went away. That it didn't.
Rest in peace.
I mean,
yeah.
No, there was like, you know, we had
amazing people in it,
like,
honestly.
And Bernardo was like one of our top performers. Like, we had a play that was at the Cherry Lane Theater, like wonderful review in the New York Times. Like, it's not nothing. Like, I really thought this can go somewhere, but there just weren't enough. It didn't happen. but like you're saying, it opened this door to you, but
right?
So one of the very first doors to open for me was like our dear friend from our theater company, Megan Hart. I literally was just like, on a whim, was like, I'm gonna go to LA and just see what I can make happen. Like, I didn't know anything. And she said, oh, my cousin is a manager in LA. Like, I'm going to send him your play. And literally, she did that, and I got off the play.
You got off the plane.
This is the problem with you.
I'm recognizing the red ball. You got off the plane.
Well done. We have recognized it.
He has an inviolate sense of truth.
Very inviolate. Yeah.
You're now in the theater company saying
you got off the plane.
Yeah. I get off the plane, and like, I had a meeting with my first managers. They signed me. I met at WME. They signed me. That all came from like our theater company. Like that's not to say like, oh, go join a theater company, have a friend for 10 years. Then maybe the friend will have a cousin who's a big deal Hollywood manager, and then they'll send them your one play you ever wrote in your life. It's not a path to follow.
But it happens.
It happens.
And it's crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
But I do think the lesson in that, I mean, when I first got to New York, this like older Latino actor at a commercial audition said something to me. I didn't get it, but now I get it. Where he was like, just go find your people. Like, just go find the people that you like and that you think are good at doing the thing that you want to do, and go hang out with them. Like, go to plays all over New York, go to screenings in LA, whatever, and find those people, because those people will then have a cousin that, honestly, like, go find your tribe or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
I agree.
Now, Bernardo's recently staffed in his first room. It's for Acapulco.
Nice.
On Apple TV. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Now, how did that come into fruition? And also, what's your experience been like your first time in a room?
Well, so again, Gina Rodriguez, her producer is Molly Breeskin. And through her, she's introduced me to tons of people because we get along well and we have a good working relationship. And through her, I had a general meeting with Tripas, which is Eugenio Derbez's company, and they're one of the producers of the show. So I met with them like a year and a half ago. Hey, we love each other. Hopefully something happens one day. And then when they were staffing for this, Molly was like, Bernardo, you guys should see him. I sent in a script as a sample, and then I had an interview with the showrunner, and I got it. I mean, you know, it's crazy. And it's been a dream come true. I can't tell you. It's like the nicest room. Our showrunner is such a good dude. Like, I'm a, staff writer. For people who don't know, that's the lowest level writer in the room, right? He lets everyone in the room pitch. There's no hierarchy at all. He really, he like, a lot of people claim that. He actually is like, everybody's allowed to pitch. He lets writing assistants pitch. He lets, his own assistant pitch. Like, everybody's pitching at all times. And it's just been like truly a dream come true. Like, we're doing, like games. We have Cocktail Friday. It's all my dreams. Like, all I ever wanted to be a writer in TV was to like share an office with someone and like make jokes and have like inside jokes and then like go into the room and just laugh. And that's what it's been so far. So I'm just trying to enjoy it and be like, I don't know that I'll ever have this exact experience again, but it's really amazing.
Quick question. When you said you got in, you had a sample. So my question is, you went from theater, right? And I'm assuming the sample you sent, was it a 30-minute or something? What was it?
No, it was that movie I told you I pitched to Gina Rodriguez.
Oh, shit. So you got in with a movie.
That first movie.
That
first movie.
Yeah. So
that's
now,
interesting.
I chose that because
chose to send that sample.
Yes, because this show is bilingual. That movie was bilingual.
Smart choice.
It's about Latina friends, and there's just a tone that's like the show Acapulco, because I really like the show already.
Yeah.
So I thought, I want to send this,
That's tight.
And so I just sent that film script,
Yeah, you hear that out there? So people are getting staffed off features.
Yeah, and plays, by the way.
And
I have
plays,
tons of friends who had never wrote anything except for a play, and they got staffed too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But the key thing you did say is that it fit the show.
Yes.
Which is something that, like, I think, like, I've asked many different people, because I think sometimes coming up as a writer, you're like, okay, I got my sample, and this is my sample, and I'm gonna squish this into this is a triangle, and I'm gonna squish it into every square it's like, nah, no. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your sample should reflect what that show is, or something that can be used in that show. And that if you want to be on a certain show, you got to have a sample for that.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a friend of ours who I admire so much, Bixby Elliott, who's one of Melanie's best friends.
Yeah.
He has so many different samples. Like, he has a horror sample. He has a rom-com. He has a this, I don't know anybody who's more ready to be on a TV show than him, Yeah. And like, I got lucky that this was an ask for a Latino show, a certain kind of
and you had it.
Positive, happy tone, Ted Lasso vibes. Like, that's what my film is like.
Yeah.
So I actually got lucky.
Yeah.
Like, I would recommend to younger writers do what Bixby's doing, which is like, he has so many fucking dope, amazing scripts that are ready that fit lots of different genres, Right? Don't you think, Melanie? Yeah.
Oh my God, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Now, is it a fully remote room?
No, so we started, the first 4 weeks were on Zoom. I will say that was much harder, just to know when to speak.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a very nervous person, as you know, and a very neurotic person. And so, like, I just was trying to find my way. Also, I didn't know the rules, so I just was kind of
so
like...
how did you find your place in the room?
Honestly, once we got in person, I feel like it just kind of opened up because then it was like human and there's break room and there's lunchtime and all of that just helps you settle down and not think of these people as like
squares.
They're all squares and like they're all so talented.
Yeah.
Also, it's a comedy room and I've never been in that. I didn't go to UCB.
Yeah.
So the level of funny is like, I may be funny with my theater friends, but these people are like thinking in joke.
All day. Yeah, they're coming up with jokes all day.
And I needed to like be in the lunchroom with them so that I could joke with them.
Right.
I think I did fine on Zoom, but I definitely feel way more at
in
home
person.
than in person,
It makes sense though if you're from theater and you're used to working with people, you know what I mean? That is a skill that would transfer into being in a physical room.
Yeah, I mean, people say it all the time, but the amount of writing you do in a writer's room, I mean, this is, again, my first experience. I'm only 6 weeks in, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But, like, there's no writing. It's literally improv.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You're improvising.
That's the thing
that's
people
what
don't
the room
realize.
is. Like, I know so many amazing writers in New York, by the way, who I don't think would do well in it because they're, like, shy people.
Yeah.
Like, it's really about being front-footed and talking,
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's interesting that it's writing,
Yeah.
It's just like,
creating.
hey, let's come up with some ideas, That's what it's like, yeah.
Love it.
Okay. Now, a couple of years ago, or maybe it was a few years ago, I can't remember exactly. Bernardo's nervous.
Yes, I am.
I introduced Bernardo to these reps that I had at the time that I'm no longer working with because of a variety of reasons that we did already cover here. And I actually feel really bad now introducing Bernardo to them because it turned out to be such a shit show. So do you want to tell us what happened there?
Well, so first of all, to the point of your friends, that was huge what you did for me. And I just because, in case people are listening that are having a hard time getting reps. So when I had that movie that I pitched to Gina, we then sold it. I still couldn't get an agent, by the way.
Wow.
I literally was cold emailing agents and managers in LA being like, I have a movie with Gina Rodriguez and Carla Souza attached. Will someone rep me? People would be like, let us know how it goes.
That's crazy.
Nobody wanted to rep me.
This is the other thing is he had like press, like it was like
Deadline,
Variety,
all this shit,
Deadline, like it was. I mean, Bernardo has like more press than almost anyone.
No movies to show for it. Yeah,
that just speaks to the industry, the problem in the industry, not you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a problem that has to be fixed.
Well, and also if I could soapbox for 2 seconds,
Please.
how many of my white guy friends are like,
100%.
you're so lucky to be a Mexican, dude.
Right.
What a
it's
joy
like-
to be you, a
it's
Mexican
like-
in America. Like, must be so easy for you, right?
It's like if you sold this, you would have agents lined up down the street.
Yeah, I'm like,
you
dude,
know what
if
I'm
it
saying?
was so great to be, Mexican, I just sold a movie with Gina Rodriguez
Right.
and Carla Souza, and people are not even returning my emails,
100%.
So fuck them. But anyway, that's a different conversation.
but
to that point, I then sold another movie through Gina,
love it.
okay? And then I still couldn't get an agent
Oh.
except for Melanie.
Oh,
Like
Melanie
legit,
came
dude.
through.
I
That's
was
tight.
emailing people, trying.
Mm-hmm.
People were like slow playing me all this stuff. Melanie introduced me to her agent.
Tight.
And to be frank, look, that agency was great for me the 2 years that I was with them.
Yeah.
They opened tons of doors for me, lots of general meetings that then led to a lot of projects I'm working on
in
now.
the future, yeah.
Yeah. So I think ultimately it wasn't the right fit, but I if you don't do that for me, legit friend, like that, like what happens?
Yeah.
Like I'm just some dude with 2 Deadline articles of movies that never got made. And then
Right.
people are like, fuck this guy. Like honestly, like
Right.
that was a huge door that you opened.
Yeah, that's dope.
I'm very grateful to you.
Oh my god.
Well, we love Mel.
I think I'm crying now.
No,
I
no.
do love Melanie because
Me
I
too.
mean, that's a big ask, by the way, because people often will go, hey, can you introduce me to your reps?
Oh, people will tell you all kind of shit.
Yeah, and we all have been in that where
Yeah.
you're like, fuck, like how many asks do I have?
Yeah.
Am I actually this tight with them?
Yep.
And you took that risk and you opened
Right.
a lot of doors, a lot of doors.
And it's okay to leave. Like that's one thing that it has been an ongoing thing we talk about on this show and our episodes is like, people have fired their reps before. People have let them go. It's okay. Like you can go from this rep to another rep. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's okay. Like
Sometimes it's not their fault. Like some
Right.
reps just have certain access to like a level.
Yep.
And then you want to go to the next level. And then
Yep.
you have to decide if you're willing to let go of access to like,
Yep.
the minor leagues to go play in the NBA or whatever. That was a
100%.
terrible analogy. But
No,
you understand.
I mean,
yeah.
minor leagues to play in the MLB.
Yeah,
The pros.
exactly.
You're right.
Exactly.
But this agency did make a major faux pas which if you're comfortable telling us about it, because things like this happen all the time. Like, I mean, I'm just saying fucked up things happen all the time. And so I think that we want to sort of take away this idea that like, oh, if you have reps, they're protecting you or they're looking out for you or they're, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's really important to know, even if you have a great relationship, it's like you are your own, like, advocate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't ever put too much trust in someone else.
No, and look, again, it's one of those things that like an old Latino guy tells you at your first commercial audition and you forget it. But like, they get 10% because they do 10% of the work. Like that's, and barely, by the way, most of them don't, not even that. Like, it's on you. Like, all the opportunities I've gotten, so much have been through my theater, through that opening doors, through then meeting people and, you know, like doing audition after audition, writing wise, you know, like reps can only do so much for you, really, you know?
100%.
It's a myth. Like, I have friends who are doing amazing things and are still not repped, you know? Like, it's just, it's helpful, but it's not the answer to all your problems, you know? It's just not.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it?
No,
Oh my God.
Nah. But
That's the end of the podcast. Melanie's like, I can't
mic
anymore.
drop. But no, I just adding on to that though, I do agree. Like, I remember when I first signed with my manager, I still have the emails of every agency that turned me down. You know what I'm saying? And then years later, I end up signing with CAA. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, nobody knows shit, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And none of this shit makes any sense. And don't take it personally. Just keep going.
Well, that's the last line of that book, the William Goldman
I love
screenwriting book. And the last line of it is
shit,
nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about, or whatever it is.
I live by
that. It's just
that.
so true. It's 100% true.
I live by that.
Like, I'll say, for example, an ex rep of mine, 2 months before I sold the boxing movie, was like, he was like, "What are you into?" I was like, "I like sports." He was like, "Sports movies are done.
Exactly.
The sports movies won't be done for 2 years. Like, just don't think about that. Get that out of your head." I was like, "Really? I have this idea for a boxing movie." He's like, "It's not gonna happen." 2 months later, I sold a boxing movie. You know, so
That's
people just say shit like they, you know, everybody wants everything everywhere all at once right now. Well, but who is the person who actually took the risk to make that movie?
Yeah.
That's the person who I think is fucking dope. You know, like.
And then will they take a chance when the next everything all at once is there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yeah, okay, well, that's that. But are you going to take a chance on the next one?
Yeah.
No. Like, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, yeah, no, I agree. And I definitely feel like when you have reps, they work for you. And I think you need to figure that out and like steer the ship. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't sit back and just be like, all right, I'm waiting for my rep to do this and do that. And I'm waiting for him to decide what I should write next. It's like, nah, steer that fucking boat. You are the captain.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
There is something that Bernardo and I also had a sort of similar experience on. And we definitely don't have to like name names or anything. Sure. But when I was developing a TV show, and this is really important to it's so hard to get that right relationship with notes, right? And notes from your execs. And I was getting these notes from these execs, and it was clear that what they wanted to turn, you know, my half-hour dramedy about like a promiscuous Christian into was like a workplace comedy. They wanted like The Office, you know, or Parks and Rec set at a church, which was 100% not the show I brought them, right? And so they would give me these notes, and I was so resistant to them, and I was so angry about these notes that they would give me. Like, I felt like, are you stupid? Yeah. Like, are you actually dumb? Like, what's wrong with you, right? And then the project didn't move forward. And so in retrospect, I wish I had just taken the notes. I wish I had just been like water off a duck's back. You know what I mean? I wish I had just been like, absolutely. Like, I love workplace comedies. Like, let's get this pastor in an office. You know what I mean? I wish, you know, and I didn't have that foresight at that moment. And I wasn't able to put my ego aside. And I know that you had a similar experience.
Oh, yeah. I'm still having these experiences. I mean, to your point of why I go back to theater, the reason I go back to theater is because in theater, there's no money.
Right.
30 of your friends come because you texted them 87 times. But the thing on the stage is your fucking idea and your words, and no one gets in the way, honestly. You know, like that's your vision and that's it, right? But I will say being in this room has made me be like, you fucking idiot, just take the note. Because in a writer's room, like, we get super excited about stuff, but it's not your show, right?
Right.
So you don't have that, like, it's my baby attachment to it, right? And sometimes the room gets super excited. We're like, fuck yeah, we just had this on one episode. We were like so excited about this one idea, right? We sent the what it was going to be to the producers, and they were like, cut those characters. And we were like, cut the characters? That's the whole fucking point of the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But then we just solved it. We were like, what if they're gonna come, but then they don't show up? And you still get the same energy, right? But we didn't spend the time that I always do, which is 3 weeks of like, fuck these motherfuckers, they don't know shit. Like they didn't go like, who do they think they are, da-da-da. Which is just ego, right? And also protecting your work. It's both things at the same time. But now I'm 100% with you, Melanie. Especially at this point in my career, like, who am I? Like, say yes, get things made. Like, all I want is for one of my movies to get made, you know? And so, yeah, dude, like, maybe the ending's not going to be your ending. The ending that you dreamed of that was even in the pitch and somehow they forgot was there, right? Like, you know what, dude? They just gave you a bunch of money to write it, and they just told you, no, we want the ending to be the other thing. Yeah. And then you know, I mean... Unless you want to be an auteur, you know, but I don't. First of all, I don't have time for that. I don't want to go direct and, you know, like be on set. Like, I just want to write things and people go make them. So I have learned that lesson. So if you're in your first note session on a screenplay and they tell you to change the ending, change the ending.
Change the forget about the integrity of your intention.
Well, get stuff made, right? And then you'll have power, right?
Exactly. Like, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Is that to just take it in the beginning and then later you won't have to, hopefully.
Yeah, like Cuarón made Little Princess and then he made Y Tu Mamá También, right? Like he made like Harry Potter, like that dude, like you have to do these things. Like
Shonda Rhimes made Crossroads with Britney Spears.
No way. Wait, is that true?
Which is a masterpiece, let's be honest.
Oh my God. I saw that in the cinema.
That car scene is classic.
But no, I mean, there you go. Yeah. That's the point, right?
Yeah, we all start somewhere. You got to start. Like, it's funny because lately, a lot of friends of mine have been doing Christmas movies. I actually ended up rewriting a Christmas movie.
Hip Hop Family Christmas.
Yeah, great. And you know, it's like you got to start where you start. You know what I'm saying? Christmas movies, they're making them every year.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so at the end of the day, you need to start. You need to credit. Get something made.
Yeah, get something made and fight for, you know, certain things, but you have to be so careful with the words you use and what you choose. And I coming from theater, you know, I was like, it's art. I'm just going to fight for my art. And then I learned my lesson because they were like, well, we're not going to use you anymore. You know? So that's what happens, people. You know, they go, oh, we'll hire another Latino guy who was going to say yes because we're offering him money, you know, and that's what happens, you know?
Yeah, and I think we have to move past this idea of like, you are dispensable.
Yes.
There is a line, of Saeed's, Bernardo's, Melanie's out the door who will change the ending.
Oh, they can't wait to change that ending.
Oh my God, they'll put it in an office, whatever you want, you know?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
you are dispensable.
Yeah, unless you are going to do the really hard thing of like becoming the auteur person, right? Who's like, and then you do become Shonda Rhimes and nobody tells you shit, right? But again, she had to make
Crossroads.
Yeah. Wow.
I got a question about, you know, upcoming writers really listen to the podcast. And I wanted to ask, like, do you have any advice for when you have a meeting for the showrunner job? Like, I assume at some point you did meet the showrunner.
I did, yeah. So this is funny because we've talked about this in the room. I was super thirsty. I went so hard for that job, man. Like, the show is set in Acapulco, and one of the characters wears a kind of old school guayabera. I literally showed him my grandfather's old school guayabera.
I love it.
I was like, I am made to write this show. My dad worked in Acapulco, and I came with like very front-footed energy, right?
Like, I want to be on this. This show is mine.
I didn't pretend. I didn't play it cool. I wasn't like, oh, you know, if it happens.
Whatever.
No, I was like, dude, I've never been on a show. This is my show. Please, please, please. Like, that was
tight,
the energy.
Wow.
And he hired me. But he talks about how he has friends who would have never hired me, right? Because it's just about the showrunner. And by the way, my showrunner is a super nice dude. So he's the kind of guy who reacts well to people wanting the job. But it's
sadly
just
that's the truth. Like, sadly, the truth is that it really does. Like, there are some basics, I guess, but at the end of the day, it is just dependent upon what type of showrunner you end up being in front of.
Yeah, and also I am a thirsty person. Like, that's
be
who
yourself.
I am.
No,
so I'm actually like, I'm happy I was myself, because if I tried to be cool, Melanie will tell you it's gonna fail. Like, if I'm like, oh yeah, you know,
and you wouldn't have been able to do that, and that's the other thing, you wouldn't have been able to show up like that every day. So at the end of the day, you got to show up yourself. You might lose some. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then you end up winning some. So that's dope.
Yeah, and then you attract the kind of people that, you know, because everyone else in the room has this kind of energy where they are like grateful to be there, and that's why it's a really positive room. You know,
That's dope.
It's a cool place to be. You know, yeah.
That's dope.
Now, Bernardo sometimes does this thing where he downplays everything that's happening in his career, to not just like in a humble way, but to a degree where he's the clown. He's playing a part of the clown who's never had a job in his life, right? And I'm always wonder, like, is it a superstitious thing? Is it like what's behind that?
So I will be. This is from therapy like a month ago.
Okay.
And I'm about to pull the culture card. Okay. So
Okay.
you knew it was coming, Melanie.
God.
You knew it was coming. So here it is, the Mexican card. I'm placing it on the table. But in Mexico, and my therapist is a Latina woman, and she was the first one to be like, "There's a reason that we're like this." In Latin America, like if you're like, "Oh, I booked a thing." Everyone's like, relájate, like chill out, you know? Like, who do you think you are? Oh, you think you're better than us? That kind of energy, right? And so I think growing up, whenever somebody did even just share good news, I even was taught like, this fucking guy. Who the fuck does this guy think? Or who does she think she is, right? And I don't think that's a good thing, by the way. I'm trying to be more like, I'm proud of this thing I achieved. Like, wow, a thing I wrote got into Sundance, right? But even saying that right now, my whole body wants to shut down. Honestly, I'm being just honest. Like, you know, this is what I'm talking about in therapy. Because she's like, it's okay to be proud, you know? But it's that weird middle part in LA where everybody is an egomaniac. And I'm just trying to be proud, but also be humble at the same time. Yeah.
Well, I think because we've all met people who are the extreme opposite of like literally complete bullshitters, like talking about people saying that they've worked with someone they've never met before, and just like making us a very small thing into a really big thing, like lying, you know? And I think that it is repulsive if you are a person who has any sort of like integrity. So I do understand being like, I don't want anyone to think I'm like that.
Yes. And then you can overplay the role, which I do. I know I do.
The clown.
You play the like, oh, I'm so humble that I won't tell anybody what I just did.
I'm the crab in the bucket.
Yeah, I'm the crab. Keep me down here, please. It's safe down here.
Don't let me out of the bucket. I love it in here.
It's so nice.
Okay.
But I would say that I do like that though, because I do feel like the highs should never be too high and the lows should never be too low, because otherwise it's gonna be hard for you to make content and work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do feel like you do just have to, coming from retail, it's like, yo, you just show up and do the work. Like, you know what I'm saying?
True, though.
Like, and it's the same thing from a play. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to show up. If you don't show up, there's nothing going on.
Yeah,
right?
totally. And it's like reviews, right? Like, if you're going to believe the good ones and post all your good ones,
right,
then you better believe the bad one too, right? Like,
100%.
I don't know. So it's something I'm working on, Melanie.
Oh, wonderful.
But thank you for bringing it up.
That I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Melanie. That means a lot to me.
Saeed's proud of you too.
I'm very proud of you. I do have a bonus thing that we are doing nowadays on this show.
Okay.
Which is, please let us know 3 things you are reading and watching right now that you love.
Oh, wow.
Or reading or watching that you love.
Okay. I just read The People of Paper by Salvador Plascencia, which is a book by a writer from LA.
Nice.
That's amazing. It's one of the best novels I've ever read.
Fire.
It fucks with form. That's the stuff I love and the stuff I hope to be allowed to do one day when I don't have to take every note.
You will.
Like, that is just an amazing novel. I love that. There's a TikTok that I'm obsessed with.
Okay, that counts as watching.
This is a first. This is a first.
Okay, well, I'm really into TikTok right now because I'm 40 and I'm 5 years late to it. But I
just like a 40-year-old.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, have you heard of TikTok?
Show up
everyone?
to the party 5 years
really
late.
Great. I
There's
highly
this
recommend
thing
it.
called TikTok that's
Facebook
crazy.
also
Gonna
tremendous.
blow your mind.
Yeah.
Just wait.
It's
There's
wild.
short videos.
You hold your phone like so.
You scroll.
You scroll.
God, what's this guy's name? Okay, if you look up, this is a guy in San Diego. It's in Spanish. And all he does is he goes up to Latino street vendors and he's like, hey, can I get, like a balloon? And they're like, sure. And he's like, here's $1,000. And then you watch the people react. And it's my favorite thing in the whole world.
You cry when you watch them.
Every single one.
Weep.
There's just no way you won't cry. It's the kindest, most noble,
That's fire.
approach to social media. And it's just this Latino guy helping out Latino people. And I'm obsessed with it.
That's dope.
And then what else?
Last thing.
I'm trying to think.
Anything on TV, a movie?
An audiobook, a podcast.
Oh, okay. I saw the movie Bardo. Has anyone seen that? The
That's
Iñárritu
next.
movie?
I want to watch because I was a fan of Revenant and Bird and something
Birdman.
else.
Yeah, totally. So I saw that movie. He did a Q&A of it. And there's one section in that film that takes place at a nightclub in Mexico City. That's
what I heard.
That is one of the most amazing, like just filmmaking wise, you just can't fucking believe what it is.
I love it.
It is just it's just a masterpiece. Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow.
Well, those
okay.
are the three things.
I'm just going to ask one last question, and then we're going to wrap. Now, Bernardo's actually a family man, Saeed. He's got a beautiful wife. Now, when I say Lauren is a catch, it's not even, I'm not using the right kind of vocabulary in any type of way, shape, or form. I can't even tell you how many awards she's not been nominated for or won for her editing. Bernardo has 2 beautiful young children. So how do you do both? Because I really struggle with balance, and I don't even have kids or a wife. You know, I have no Diego, Paloma, Lauren. I don't have any of that. And I already struggle so much. So it's like, how do you do this thing that we do, which is, it is a crazy thing to do with like your energy, your time, like your focus, and then also have a family.
Well, you can't have it all. And it's...
You're like, Lauren's actually leaving me.
No, well, the truth is, every time you get a little more of one thing, you lose a little of the other thing. Like right now, this is a dream. I've wanted to be in a TV writer's room for how long, right? I'm fucking 40 years old.
Come on.
And you know what it means?
Yeah.
It's that in the mornings, I see Paloma, my daughter, who's about to turn 1. I see her for 20 minutes.
Damn.
And then I see her for 10 minutes right before she goes to bed at night.
Damn.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I really miss her, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a trade I'm making. And I've chosen a TV writing job over my daughter. I am a horrible person. No, but that's real, right?
It's real. That's real. No.
But I will say, for writers out there, because I do it, so much of writing is not writing and procrastinating.
100%.
And what you really have to start doing is just cut your bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, I do this. I don't have to watch the same Norm Macdonald joke on Conan O'Brien again.
I don't have to Google fucking how to drive on a freeway at 150 miles per hour.
Yeah,
Like,
why am I watching another Hot Ones episode? I love that show. I can't stop. Like, why? Like, just fucking write, you know? Yeah. And I say that to myself because I always am procrastinating. But a lot of our time is wasted time, you know?
Yeah. Where can people find you online, Bernardo?
I mean, it's not really that interesting, but Pinche Cubria on Instagram. On Twitter, I'm B Cubria. If you follow me on there, it's a waste of your time. I just retweet things. You know?
See what he's doing? He's
just watch his show.
Yeah.
Just watch
Acapulco.
Watch Acapulco. That I will say, if
Yes.
I have nothing to do with the first 2 seasons. I love this show.
Yeah.
It has been criminally under promoted.
Yeah.
Like, it is Mexican Ted Lasso. It's going to make you feel really good. And by the way, it's the only Latino show on television where no one's a narco, no one's an undocumented. Like, it's not about that shit. It's just about people with dreams. And it's in English and Spanish. You should really watch that show.
Well, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you
for
so
the
much.
time.
I love you, Bernardo.
Gracias.
Thank you for coming through. This is another episode of Two Writers.
Talking shit.
See you next time.
Bye.
Two Writers Talking Shit is an original podcast created by Melanie Mars and Saeed Crumpler. Our producer is Kayla Guess. Our audio engineer is T. Kelly.
Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you damn well please. All we ask is that you subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and give us a glowing review.
If you're not going to give us 5 stars or any glowing reviews, then why even log on? Save your rants for an open mic.
If you have any questions for us, and I do mean any, you can email us at twowriterstalkingshit@gmail.com. That's the number 2, and then writerstalkingshit@gmail.com.
See you next episode.
Bye.